There we go.
Hey.
All right, welcome everybody to the second edition of Gamers Roundtable. I'm Daniel, aka Warrior King Crawl, on Xbox, PC, uh, Steam. I'm joined by Joe, aka I am Synclo, on Xbox, Twitter, Instagram. Uh, this is the second episode. We had a few hiccups in the first episode, but we're working through them, and we didn't have any audio, so I wasn't able to upload the first episode to YouTube and other platforms, so that other people can get an idea of our opinions on the upcoming games that are out, as well as just essentially everything that we find interesting, because we are two avid gamers who just love playing video games and spending time on video games. So we welcome anybody to say anything, ask questions. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Joe? Give a little bit of background on yourself and what you want to do today.
All right, guys. Well, like he said, my name is Synclo. I actually stream on Twitch. I've been doing this for a couple of days. But we're going to basically talk about today, as we've been kind of going over all week, whether we were going to cover, certain games or not. And the Division 2 has been in private and open beta phase before, and the open beta just got released today. We did play a few hours of that today, and we're basically going to cover the Division 2, the good things about it, the bad things about it, and just weigh in opinions of this game from the old game, the first division, to the new one, and basically give our opinions on, whether it's going to be good, whether it's going to be bad, etc. But that's pretty much what we're going to cover today.
So going from the closed alpha to the open beta, have you noticed any significant differences that it's going to make you want to purchase the game?
Well, me and you kind of talked about it off stream for a couple minutes while we were, getting everything together. But right now, as far as from the other beta, from being private beta to the open beta, there hasn't really been any difference. The one thing I can say that they really haven't done for me, as far as worth the buck. I've played the campaign in the first game. I've played the campaign in this game, and there's no really difference in that. You still have to grind level 30 to get where you need to go, as far as unlocking things. But I think that the features that they give us right now, from the private beta to the open beta, I think it's only one skill, and that's the chem launcher now, right?
Yes,
That's what they unlocked. But for them just to unlock that, as far as abilities go, and then not give us anything extra as far as skills, perks, all that, and then having to do the same missions over and over.
Yeah.
Right now, it's not a money grabber to me, man. I don't see the game really being a successful purchase in my book, at least as far as right now.
Yeah, after the closed alpha, I had contacted Xbox and asked them for a refund, because going from the first division to this one, I loved the mechanics of the Division 2. It's a fun game. I love the cover to cover, how that's implemented in both games. But you and I, we don't really want to continuously do the same mission over and over from the alpha to the beta. I don't want to do the same mission. I just want to get to the dark zone. I want the PvP. I want to, as you said, build a rig. I want to get in there and experience the dark zone, but now I got to replay all these missions that I've already done. And I understand they're trying to introduce it for people who haven't played the game, whether it be the first division or the closed alpha. but they should have taken into account again the people who were in the closed alpha and maybe let us make the choice of go through the tutorial and just go straight into the dark zone. Understanding that we're probably going to get mollywopped at first, but you're going to be able to go in there and build your rig, and that's what I was hoping for. I didn't get it.
Right. Get a little bit of the experience on how like the builds work and how the gear works in this game. I mean, it's physically similar, but as they were like kind of pitching in their sales pitch for the Division 2, you don't have to constantly loot like you did in the first game. So it might open up to different builds and different things and skills you can do in the game, but if we can't see any of those skills and things that you can do in the game, what's really going to bring the hardcore player, I would say, or veteran player, as you would say, to the game? Because if you did play the first division, there is that little bit of expectation that you do expect from the game to keep it that, you know, feel that you had in the first one. Like you said, the overall like look of the game and like, you know, the concept of the game of how they're doing the cover to cover now, and they're actually focusing on more kind of slower gameplay instead of like the old run around in a circle for 5 minutes and, you know, fight people and do crazy PvP battles by rolling on the ground and, you know, jumping over this and doing that. Like, they kind of got away from all that chaos and kind of slowed it down a little bit. It's kind of changed the game for the hardcore player. In my eyes, that's kind of like a downgrade to the game, because if we can't even try the builds out, you know, how are we supposed to, you know, try the movement out without the build? You know what I mean? It's a kind of like a lackluster. I was saying that today. That's been the word of the day. It's been a lackluster experience having to go from the private beta, play the same missions that we literally played in the private beta, get on the game today, and we literally have to go through the whole thing, like you said, over and over with things that we've already done.
Yes.
So, in my eyes, like, they should have just released everything in one beta and just let it go for like 2 weeks or whatever, instead of releasing a beta for 3 days and you literally only get, what was it, one more level?
Yeah.
Then from what'd you say, level 8 today you can go to?
Yep, you can go to level 8 now.
What's the difference? One level. What's the difference? Like, they could at least, like, okay, they finished the campaign, they saw the end game. Okay, let's give them a little taste of the PvP in the Dark Zone and some of this gear.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I thought they were going to go, since we already had played, like, the beginning, kind of like the story, the initial load up into the game, explaining who the characters were, what kind of specialists they had, and this and that. Everything that everybody has already seen from trailers and videos. I mean, it's not no secret. Everybody knows, like, what they're trying to accomplish. You know, they carried over the story. You know, they carried over the story from New York to DC now, which was cool because they kind of expanded the whole storyline of the game. So for them to actually come out with the Division 2 and then keep to the story, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
But now, keep to what you guys are known for. You're known for having a great multiplayer experience because it's PvP and PvE put together. But now what I want to know is the PvE aspect of the game going to take over the PvP, because not a lot of people like the new rogue system. Not a lot of people like the new like rogue system where you can like do separate missions to get your rogue status. You no longer can just hit up on a D-pad and go rogue.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like the right direction for where they kind of want to go with the system of their PvP for the Division 2.
Like going from the Division 1, I had played it at the beginning, like you and I played it together, and it was great. And I got out of it. I went into playing other games like Overwatch and other games like that. And by the time I had come back, you had progressed so far above where I was at that I lost interest in it, and that's why I'm trying to get into this at the beginning so that I can get progressed forward and not be surpassed and not get shit on whenever I go into the dark zone, because that's what I want to do. And it's going to be hard to find that. I don't want it to feel like a grind. I want it to feel like this is fun. We played it for a little bit today, and it was the repetitiveness of what we already did. So I don't want to do it now. I mean, I'll jump back on it. Like maybe it's only because once I get past these missions again, it'll get better. So I mean, I'll knock the missions out, and then hope that I can get into the dark zone and that gets unlocked, and we'll see if it's any different after that. But at this point in time, if Xbox would have refunded my money, Microsoft would have refunded my money back, I wouldn't have bought this game. Because I only bought it to get into the closed alpha. And then I didn't even finish out the closed alpha. Because they had said, well, it's only going to be 3 days, but then lo and behold, it was up for 7 days. I just could not pull myself to get back on that game because it was just so draining to get back on there and run through the same thing over and over and over and over. Now, when you and I were playing, we did meet up with other people, and that was phenomenally fun. Now,
that was the only time, like in the whole experience of the beta, at least from the other one, that was fun because we were actually getting into fights, not just with regular, AI, PvE players and the normal, aspect of that. There was actually real players that we finally saw, and it was like cool to see that interaction with the PvE because everything was like kind of going on crazy at that point, but we understood like, oh wait, there's guys over here that are actually in the dark zone now and they're actually fighting.
Yeah,
that was exciting. Now if we could play a whole day of like that,
yes,
and actually like feel out the gear, because you hit a nail on the head when you said like you don't want it to be a constant grind. Yes, it is a loot shooter. Yes, you are supposed to grab gear and grind for better loot, and that's what you do. But for the expectations of the Division 2, this is where they said that they're going to shine. Because it's not going to be like you have to get 6 pieces of gear or 4 pieces of gear to put little builds or like things with your gear together. My question is that because of the new system they have of what they call what was it, like labels, or like I don't remember the exact wording that they used for brands. That's what it was. There we go. It was brands. It's no longer like a certain specific brand you need anymore. Like before, you would need like 4 pieces of like say Nomad or 4 pieces of whatever in the first game, and then you would be able to start a build. Now this game wants to say, no, you don't need 4 pieces. You can do 2 pieces, or you can do 1 piece and 1 piece.
Yeah.
Or 3 pieces and 3 pieces, or 2 pieces and 2 pieces. Whatever combination you would like to do with different brands, you can do. So it opens up kind of like the casual player aspect to where, oh, I don't have to grind as much. Don't get me wrong, you have to grind to get good gear, obviously. But you don't have to grind as much necessary to make a build. And I think maybe that'll change a person's perspective who played maybe the first one, who doesn't really, like yourself, doesn't really have to grind that much. Because you are right, in the old game, if you didn't stay on every day and you didn't play with the same people every day that had the same builds or got the gear, you were at a disadvantage. You were at a loss if you went into the PvP area of the Dark Zone, because back then people didn't give a damn. They'll come up to you and just go rogue and then shoot you in the back or get you right out the spawn and you were dead.
Yep.
And that was very frustrating. So coming to that point of PvP, and player versus player for an update from the Division to the Division 2. Now they've added turrets to the spawn areas of the PvP, so people can't do the spawn killing and, the rogue spamming of, respawn areas in the game, or fast traveling to certain areas, and right when you pop out, there's a whole squad of 4 people waiting for you and you get dumped on. That's not fun to a person. So for them to actually add a feature into the new game to where people can't exploit that, I don't know what to call that, not glitch, but exploit that, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but exploit that, to do that in the game. I think it's cool that they actually added that. Um, right, right. It's like an uneven advantage. You know what I mean? They're always going to have that higher, advantage because they have the better gear, they have the higher guns, they have the higher level. At least with this Division 2, that's not going to matter. It's all depending on what you have on your build. You know what I mean? It's not like the last game to where, like we said, you had specific gear you had to get. You had to get 4. You had to get certain pieces. This, you don't really necessarily have to do that. So that opens the field of like so many different possibilities you can think of, and you're not at a disadvantage. Especially if you can't get on like you can't every day. For the average person who does work and have a job or a family or kids or whatever. Not everybody's that hardcore gamer, get on every day and be able to do it for hours at a time. That's why I think some gaming companies actually have lost their way to where like a lot of their audience, have liked the game for a while, but they didn't like that constant grind. They didn't like having to get gear all the time. And then when you did actually succeed in the PvP and you actually got to extract stuff from the Dark Zone, it wasn't even worth your time because it was usually trash and it was just taking up space in your inventory.
Yep.
As far as like attachments for guns and what else? Mods. That was a big thing. Mods and attachments for guns flooded your inventory back in the first division. Now they've kind of gotten to a system where everything is just on one, parallel menu on your gun. And once you unlock it, you no longer have to keep stacking that or finding that item. It's already unlocked on the gun. So on that aspect of like getting more loot and getting more gear, I think as far as like space goes, they say that they're going to make more inventory space for us. But until we are able to actually see how that inventory space is going to work when we do get to loot gear, then I'll be able to give a better opinion on like, how the game, as far as like when you're looting do you get the right gear? Do you not? So it's just like they have made improvements from the first one to the second one on that. But what else did the Division have on the first one that the second one's trying to improve on? Inventory space, not having to grind, like you said. Just trying to cover everything as far as like improvements, because right now we're just talking about the improvements of the game and all that. Let's see what else there was. I think the one thing, I said this earlier, I think one thing kind of throwing me off in the game is having to find all these people in the White House, and you're basically your base of operations.
Yeah.
I don't like how they did the new layout in the base of operations for this game in the Division 2. I think they could have left it kind of similar to the first one, even though it is similar and you have to find people. I feel like it was just kind of like a few people that you had to find, and you knew exactly where your gear was, you know exactly where like your vendors were, you know exactly where to get camos, you know exactly where to get, you know, clothes. I just feel like with this bigger base of operations, they kind of did too much at one time for that.
Yeah.
Because if you're first coming into the game and you haven't played the first division, it's going to be really confusing for a player to understand like what everybody is and what everybody does. I mean, yeah, that's trial and error through the game and playing it, but you got to think of like how they're trying to present their game. They dropped the ball in the first one, picked it back up at the end of the season, got a big player base at the end of their, you know, glory day, and then they announced that they're going to be going on with a Division 2. Question from Mega Girl Boss. So what is your all-time favorite game to play? Question is for both of us. Where?
Mine would have to be.
Gotta think about that for like a minute.
I'd say Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or Ghost.
Now, is this strictly Xbox, or is this like all-time, like any system, any game?
We'll go with any system, any game.
You're gonna laugh because you probably never even heard of this game. My overall favorite game to play, probably of all time, would probably have to be Bloody Wolf.
Okay.
And Bloody Wolf is actually from TurboGrafx 16.
Wow.
And yeah, that's probably one of my favorite games. Or at a tie for like second would be Partial Stars, and that's also on the TurboGrafx 16. And these are old games where I'm talking like these are old, like Atari days old, like 16-bit system, like that's why it's called TurboGrafx 16. It's a 16-bit system.
My when I was younger, I would have to say it would have been Greatest Heavyweights on the
classic
on the Sega.
Yeah.
That was
Sega.
Yep. Anyway, that game was so much fun.
Ah.
I remember being 12 years old and going to Sun TV, and this is even after the Dreamcast had come out. I still paid $40 for that game.
Oh my God! You said the Dreamcast. I forgot about that. Wow, Dreamcast! I remember that people. Not to get off topic, but since you brought Dreamcast up, not a lot of people know this is not the first system ever to be online. They had that way back when. Like, people think like online gaming is just a thing now. Now, Dreamcast was ahead of its time.
Yep.
They're like, hey man, use your dial-up connection and you can get online and play against other people all around the world.
Yeah.
Dreamcast was the first system ever to be online capability, and then came the PlayStation 2. You had to buy the little adapter and put it on the back of your PlayStation, and then you had to plug in a little phone wire. Never forget it. Any new games that are coming out that we look forward to playing? See, and that's the thing. It was going to be the Division 2. But now it's like I'm on the fence and I don't want to waste money. We were just actually talking about that today off streaming, where before we had, got off and parted ways, we were looking at the store, at least I was, because the Division 2 had gotten boring from doing the same campaigns like we have said. And I've looked at the games coming out in the next 2 to 3 months, and there's nothing that really even sparks my attention. There's not a game coming out.
Yeah, like, once you get the your computer up and running, CS:GO, I think that's a game I think you would get into, because you enjoy the search and destroy, and it is, and that's all that game is nothing but search and destroy. And I sit and play that game for, well, I can sit and play that game for hours and hours and hours because it's so much fun, and that's a game I can see you getting into. But looking
I've
forward
watched
to
tons of people play it. I've never touched it, man.
Rage is the one that's coming out that
Rage 2, yeah, I've seen that.
it looks like a it looks like it's a pretty cool game. I've only ever seen the trailer of it. I don't know much about it, but that's one that I want to look more into as it approaches its release. And I've signed up to see if I can get into their beta. So
Now, is that only a PC game? Well, no, I can't say it's only a game because I forgot I did see it. I did see it on the Xbox. I don't know when the release date is, obviously, but it is coming to the Xbox One.
Yes, it is, and from my understanding, it's going to be September, October timeframe.
Also, so it's a ways off.
Yeah. So that's, I think it's going to give them definite time to have the beta. Now, see, like all these damn betas that are coming out, like I'm an idiot. I keep purchasing pre-alpha games on my computer, and that shit's getting expensive, and it's becoming a big fucking letdown. Hi, Nonstop Troll. I greatly appreciate the follow. That's not very kind. But anyways, I keep signing up for a lot of these pre-alpha games. Like I got one, War of Rights, and whenever I bought that pre-alpha, it was $130 for the pre-alpha. Yeah, and it's a Civil War based game, and it was fun. Like I bought the lieutenant colonel level or the general level. Yeah, I bought the general, 1-star general level, and it was fun at first, but then the developers became real asses, and they essentially DDoSed me down to or dropped me to a private level, even though I put 130 in it. A private level was $20. So now they want me to work from a private level up to a general level. Well, that's not what I bought. And that's not like I bought it for like the stuff to be able to play an officer. But I can't do that now. So, you know, and now with the Division, you know, it uses a shit ton of bandwidth to download all these games for me. And they're just not as fun, and I'm starting to lose my patience with games releasing these betas. Release the game in full.
Okay, so I have a question for you then. Where if the betas that are coming out, and we obviously know like the pre-beta phase is the thing now. I'm not to name drop Fortnite pre-beta, PUBG pre-beta, Division pre-beta, Blackout even pre-beta.
Yeah.
My question to you: do you think that betas in pre-alpha or the final stages of whatever, do you think it helps the game, or do you
Oh
think
no.
it brings the game down as far as like, you know what I'm saying, as far as like releasing a beta? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that a lot of games and a lot of developers now are doing that? Because don't forget, like back in the day, we didn't really call them beta, we call them demos. There's a difference between a beta and a demo.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't have a problem back in the day when they released demos because it was actually a feel of the whole game
Yes.
to a particular point. Now, for example, Resident Evil 2, that came out on pre-beta, but that was an older game. That was already made. That has already had success. That's already been. Everybody knows Resident Evil. Everybody's heard of the name. Everybody's seen the movies. I don't care who you are. Like, somebody at some point has heard Resident Evil, whether it be a movie or a game or a comic even. They did a demo. They didn't really do a beta. They did a demo.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can play the game up to this point for this long, and gave you a taste of like what the game was going to be like. And everybody from that aspect loves the game. From who I know who have bought it, I haven't had the luxury to do that, but it was always a classic that I played. So when it's the new remade Resident, it's a remake, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's the remake of Resident Evil 2 with Claire Bloomington, I think it is, and Leon. So it's
the Resident Evil he's talking about is the Resident Evil 2, which was originally released on the PlayStation 2, which then they re-released on the Xbox One. They remade they just remade the game, made the graphics a little bit more cleaner, and then they just re-released it for, again, $60. So they're selling the same game.
She knew what you were talking about already.
Well,
but I feel like demos help, but I feel like betas don't.
I think betas potentially harm the game more than they're helping, because as with the alpha and the beta with Division 2, it has swayed you, say like a guy who loved the Division 1, to potentially not buy it now because it's an unfinished game. It's not what you were expecting, and that's where it's hurting it, because you can only progress so far, and then once you progress to that level, you have nowhere else to go. Now with PUBG and what other game? Oh, we'll just we'll go with PUBG. PUBG Blackout. It is definitely killing that game because it is not complete, and even going with like DayZ. I don't know if you've ever watched anything on DayZ, but that game has been in pre-alpha
development for how many years? Yeah. That was one of the first games, I believe, from what I remember, I ever seen played on like a computer and streamed on Twitch. And DayZ's been around for I don't know how many years, but it's been around. It's had a name. It's had its glory days. It's had its like time. But I honestly think a lot of people don't even know about it. There's not a lot of people that are into like the DayZ thing, like H1Z1. That's another one that's been around for a while, and they're kind of like resurrecting it and bringing it back to the old school feel, because they changed so much on the game that people don't want to play it. And they've even let out, like I seen it online, like a newsletter saying like, hey, we know our game sucks. We're going back to the old, Battle Royale King of the Hill. Battle Royale King of the Hill, because that's what basically that was like King of the Hill. I don't know much about H1Z1 because I've never played it or seen much gameplay from it, but I know that's what the game itself prided itself on, was King of the Hill, and they kind of lost their way. And I kind of feel that's kind of what the Division 2 kind of has come to, is like they want to fix all the problems that they had in the first one and make the game look cleaner and make the game run smoother. But as far as like overall game, what's gonna keep me coming back to keep wanting to grind the Division 2 and keep wanting to play?
Yeah.
The only thing that's gonna keep me to want to play that game is getting into the best areas of the game and looting and playing with other people and having that group that constantly gets on and grinds and finds gear. The problem with me is that if you, like you said, if it's going to be a constant, repetitive kind of thing, I'm not trying to do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't have time for that. Like,
you get burned out in the aspect of a game nowadays 3 to 6 months into the game, at least as far as lifespan goes, because you got to figure every year a game comes out, or every season, or whatever you want to say. There's particular seasons that certain games come out, and like Call of Duty and all that's around November. Everybody knows that. But like, to start off from the Division having, like I said earlier, it was one of the most sold games ever. Like, as far as like a new game dropping and coming out, like it sold them. I don't know the record, but like I've seen it. It's fact. But it's like most units ever sold in a game or something, or as far as like something like that. Most something sold for something on the Division. They got that record. Like, that game could have been so much bigger if they didn't have the problems that they had after they released it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that, like I said, now they're trying to fix all that in this game. But I feel like they've done too much, because now it doesn't feel like the first game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily represent even the first game. I kind of threw out the first game, and I'm kind of trying to get this a whole new, opening to be in my arsenal of games that I would play. But I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, and I want a game like this. Like, I want a game like this that you can sit and you can interact. It's fun to play the games that you can play with your friends, and not be overwhelmed by a grind and grinding and grinding, because then you, like, at that point you become an ass, because you just get just depressed trying to
frustrated, angry, and violent rage spells. I mean, it all happens like.
And then you're gonna start. Okay, well, people aren't gonna want to play this game with you then, and I don't enjoy games that do that to me. So that's why I play Apex, because even when I lose, it's like I want to jump back in, and it's such a different game. And that's like, I don't know. I just want something that's going to be fun to play for long periods of time. That on my days off of work, that I can just sit in from the morning till the afternoon, till lunchtime, play the game without, being like just getting that anxiety.
Have a good time. Not put extra stress on your body or your mind just because of a game. Like, that's where kind of I am on things, man. It's like sometimes, like, me, I grind, man. This is what I do. I'm on every day. I play every day, and like, I try to keep that mindset of like, let's not burn myself out in the game. But sometimes, man, like, you end up playing it so much, and it gets so like frustrating to you, you don't even want to play it anymore.
Yep.
And that's kind of where I was left with COD. Like, I've grinded that till as far as I can go, and I can't do it. It's like, and I don't want to have to go on the Division 2 and do the same thing, like play 3 months, and then 3 months, 6 months into the game, I'm burned out.
And it's
bad. No one wants to do that.
And it's bad that even like today, that's what I felt today. Running through the same missions over, and just you did too.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I honestly, I'm boggled. Like, where I am boggled why they would be like, oh, let's give them the private beta, and let's put these campaign missions and make them feel like the final mission, and see all these little new abilities that they have for guys and specialists and all that. That's fine. That's cool. That's showing us the features that you're putting in. that weren't in the first. I get that. That's cool. You're trying to show them what new features you guys are bringing to the table. But for you guys to put it in the first one and then give us the open beta that everyone can play, because you have to think there's a difference between private and open.
Mm-hmm.
Private means you only get the people that either specifically pre-ordered the game or already had an in to play the private beta. You know what I mean? I pre-ordered just to play the private beta. I didn't pre-order to buy the game. I just pre-ordered just to try it out because I knew if I was going to drop $65 on this game, that it had to change my expectations from the first one, and it has not done that.
And here's another thing. Okay, well, I've already bought the game. Would it have not made sense that, okay, you want to put those same missions in there? That's fine. Put the same missions in there. I don't want to redo them, but I want to explore. I want to see what's in store for me in the future. So even though you're not going to put all the missions in, the mission's going to be in this one area. Okay, open the entire map up. Let me run around. There'll be nothing there. Like, I'm not going to be able to do anything.
Give a little piece.
Yeah.
Give a little piece of every little thing that you guys would have to offer for the game. Then I could be like, oh, well, this is new. I didn't get to do this in the game, or
yeah.
I want to feel that experience. I don't just want to play it. I can play a game. That's just what you do as a gamer. You play games. You don't have to enjoy it. Sometimes you hate it and you still play it. But I want to feel that. I want to, like you said, I want to be able to come home and feel that, man, I can't wait to kick some ass on the Division 2 with my friends and do a freaking 8-player raid.
Yeah.
Or do a mission that's super hard that we haven't been able to get past, and let me ever getting past that. I want to feel again, man, and that's the thing that's lacking in a lot of these games.
Yeah, and
one, they're not finished, and two, it's like you don't get that feeling of having fun anymore, man. And I don't know what it's gonna take.
And again, that's why I keep going back to. I jumped on my computer yesterday and the day before yesterday, and I was playing Overwatch, and Rainbow Six.
Tarkov.
Yeah, Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov. That game, again, that's another one that's in the beta stage. Because I got one there, I understand why it's in beta. It's because they still are developing the other maps. That makes perfect sense. Okay, well, but whenever they drop another map, they release a big update, and it's all that map new, and then they reset your missions, and then you're starting over, and then that's a grind to get back up to get.
It's a new feel. It's a new grind. It's a new experience. They don't want to release something not finished.
Yes.
They want to say we want to get everything in order. So you play this, try this out, get a feel of this. But hey, when you're done with this, you get to have this.
Exactly.
And this is the next update. If every beta would go like that and actually give you more content as you progress down the line, since it is in beta, since it isn't finished, then you might have some success. But to put it out in private and then open and still give us basically what we just had. The private beta is the open beta. You might as well say that.
Mm-hmm.
The private beta for the Division 2 is the open beta.
And
unless miraculously at that level 8, one level 8, it changes the game. Unless there's something that happens when you reach that level 8 that we didn't get in the first one, to me there's no similar or difference from what we had. What's the difference?
My favorite PC game, CS:GO. Yeah. Now I have Overwatch on Xbox and PC. I enjoy it more on PC because the movements are a lot easier, and
the feel.
Yes, it feels a lot better on PC, but I still love it on Xbox. Same way with Rainbow Six. I have it on PC and Xbox, but I love it on the Xbox because it's the feel, the shooting. And that game I can sit and I can grind and grind and grind, and it's fun every single time.
You ain't lying because it wouldn't be so popular if it wasn't.
Yep.
I mean, that game is super old. I'm not saying like it's super old, but it's old. Like, I mean, it could have been a blimp in the frying pan, but everybody still plays it. It's
What-
still competitive. There's a whole esports, like, big, huge community behind it. I mean, I've never got into the Overwatch. I've tried. I literally tried. Like, I forced myself to get on there where, like, man, I'm just going to try it out. And I even found a guy that I like, for me. And, I tried it out. I liked it. The thing is like, games nowadays, to me, lack creativity.
Yeah.
A lot of games nowadays, just for me, lack creativity. I'm not the same gamer I was when I was younger. I'm not the same gamer I was 5 years ago. There's a lot of things in games that have to grab my attention now and make me spend the money to get their games, because it has been betas and it has been pre-alpha and the game isn't finished, and it's just, why can't they get it and just be like, okay, we got to go back to what we used to do. Release these games completely done and then just charge for the DLC.
Yeah.
Like,
Or-
if they
or-
did that, at
or
least you
even-
got an option. You got an option to have DLC. You got an option not just cram everything in one big game, then release pre-beta, pre-alpha, and then expect us to pay for more things to improve the game, or how they say, improve your experience with their microtransactions, or
Well, even Overwatch, like I said in our first episode, Overwatch, it gives you all the updates and all the characters for free. Like you paid for the base game, and then you get everything for free after that. Now with Rainbow Six, yes, you have to buy the a yearly pass, then you get a few more characters. But if you don't buy that, you don't lose the core game.
right.
You can still compete with everybody there, and that's what makes it. Again, it's harkening back to what we had said in the first episode, that everybody has a chance, and that's what makes a game fun. When you have no
Right.
chance, like too high of a level in the dark zone, so like everybody's too high, you don't have a chance. Therefore, you lose interest, and it loses the fun aspect of it.
Right.
Um,
And that game like that would make you, it would trigger you, and you wouldn't. I mean, I can't say how many times I've literally rage quit in the division. Like,
Mhm.
F this game, dude. I'm done, dude. This guy just comes out of nowhere. I ain't even got guns, and he's smashing me to the floor. I'm
Yep.
out. Forget it. I'm done.
exactly.
I get off. But the Division 2 has rectified themselves, and they have said that all three first phases of their DLC for the first year are going to be absolutely free. So instead of having to pay for it like we did on the Division with some of the DLC, we're getting it for free. So that is progress from where we were before with the Division 2, to get back on the Division 2. Speaking of free DLC, Division 2 is one with free DLC. I don't necessarily know how the future of the DLC is going to go after that year, if it's going to be free, but they did announce at E3 that it was going to be the first episodes, or they call it episodes, but I just call it seasons.
Yeah.
It's basically every, I think, months, they said.
Yeah, and
So 6 a year or something like that.
yeah, and I what I hope they do is, and because I've already bought it, that they do something like what Rainbow Six did, and because I reached out to Rainbow Six's developers and asked them, I don't want to buy this game for the 5th time, because I have it on all my systems, and all like different computers and everything like that, and I don't want to buy this game again for the 6th time. If there's going to be a Rainbow Six Siege 2 coming out in the future. And they said, no, absolutely not. We will be staying with this game for another 10 years. Just releasing new maps, new characters.
They have said that when they originally tried to pre-release this game, that they were going to keep all their DLC free, as far as if you didn't want to buy it, you can have the opportunity to grind and get enough points to actually purchase whoever you want. And I mean that's kind of cool in my aspect. I don't have a lot of money, and I don't have money for the DLCs.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to be able to just load up the game and like, yeah, I might not have the character now, but shoot, if I grind 2 or 3 days, hey, I can get 25,000, siege rewards and buy that, or buy a skin, or buy a dot, or buy a character. That's cool. That gives me an actual reason to get on the game and actually grind. Like, man, that new character just came out. I want to have to get that. I gotta get that. Kavira. That's like my main in Rainbow Six Siege.
Mm-hmm.
I had to get her. Yeah. I was like, man, if I don't get this girl, I'm not gonna play this game because I don't want to use anybody else. So I grinded to get to there, and it was free. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to buy a DLC.
And what that also makes you do by allowing you to purchase the characters with the Rainbow Six rewards is it engages you to do the daily missions, to do the weekly missions.
Right.
And so that part of it, they're engaging in different aspects of the game in order to bring players in.
Experience.
Exactly. And if the Division does the same thing, and I truly hope that the negative aspects that I'm feeling about the game are because it is in the beta, and whenever the full release comes out, that everything that we're worried about now or saying is terrible about the game now, it is that we don't have to do these same missions for a third time.
We will. We'll have to do it again.
But we don't have to do them in the order that they're telling us. We can go to a level. Okay, we're level 1, but we can do it in a level of 6. Like we're not just in this bubble essentially. And I hope that it gets better upon release, because if it doesn't, I just wasted $60.
For me, not to buy this game is hurting my soul.
Yeah.
It's like I want to so bad, but then again, I'm so strapped for cash nowadays, man. It's like if I buy this game, it's completely trash, and I just don't play it at all. It's going to be another game that I buy that just sits on my Xbox and wastes space.
And
like Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yep.
Prime example. Like, I love it. Love the way it feels, love the way it looks, but the online for it is just not really up to par, in my opinion. So now that's another game that's sitting on my Xbox. I don't want this Division 2 to be one of those games that's like sitting on my Xbox. I want to have its time to shine, and I actually want to be able to stream it and be like, yeah, you guys didn't like the first one, but I want to prove to you why this game is good in this game, the Division 2, and right now they're not giving me a reason to be like, hold the Division 2 in my hand and be like, oh, there's no appeal there right now for me. What is my favorite Xbox game? My favorite PC game is War Rock. I didn't answer that, but my first PC game I ever played on a PC was on a laptop. It was called War Rock. It was it was kind of free. You had to pay microtransactions to get a gun or a skin or a character. But that was my first experience of using a mouse and a keyboard and running around a map with it. It was kind of like a smaller version of Call of Duty, but on way smaller scale with way less stuff. But it was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my favorite PC game. As far as Xbox goes, what's my favorite Xbox game? Wow. That's a hard one. That is a hard one. I played a lot of Xbox games. Are you talking 360 or are you talking Xbox One or both? Just all together overall Xbox. God. Favorite Xbox game? I had to come back to that one. That's a hard one because I've played so many Xbox games. Xbox 360. Okay. Well, if you say 360 now, see that's easy. I could show you what my favorite one is for that one.
Modern Warfare 2.
That's my favorite game for that one. No, let me stop though. That would be my number one. But like, if I had World at War physically on a disc, I broke it an accident moving here, so I don't have it anymore. But if I did have to say like what would be my favorite, it'd probably be World at War before that one. But I don't have World at War anymore, so
I'd say Modern Warfare 2 on the 360.
this has to be the one.
But
Like,
now,
this is how you know. But like, if you could see the disc, like there's scratches and all types of just stuff on here. That's how you know I played the dog mess out of this.
now
That's my favorite game.
if we're saying all of Xbox, whether it be the original Xbox, the 360, or the Xbox One, it would have to be 4x4 Evo.
Oh, that's old, dude. That's like,
Sonic Unleashed, nice.
oh, I remember when they released that.
Yeah, that's that. Me and the wife used to sit and play 4x4 Evo, and this snowboarding game for hours and hours. Because when I moved into my first apartment, I didn't have cable or anything like that, so anything I had was an Xbox, and we played that game religiously.
I remember when I had my 360. Rest in peace, Circuit City. But man, I remember when I bought my first 360, Circuit City. I ran up in there. I was like, "Man, where's your 360s at? I gotta buy Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. You got that game? I need that in a 360 right now." And the guy looked at me like I was just completely bonkers. Like, yeah, they're over there in the electronics. All right, man. And I ran over there like a nutbag and grabbed it out there, grabbed the box, and was like, "All right, man, you got the game." And he's like, "Yeah, we got to unlock it." So we unlocked the game, and I go running up to the register like a madman. I run home, and I find out I got to buy an adapter to get online and put the little thing in the back and plug it in the U. And I didn't know that. And I'm like,
Oh, damn.
got to go back to Circuit City. I got to get one of them. I remember going back. He's like, "You're back already?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got to grab it apart for be online." And I grabbed it. It was like $30 back then. I came back. I stole somebody's internet connection just to get online. Like, I was like, "Oh, it's one that's open. I can get on." And I literally played online gaming off somebody else's like connection for over a year when I first got the 360.
Nice.
And that's what introduced me to online gaming, as far as like really being online and playing with people, not like playing on the Dreamcast where you play for a couple hours and then get disconnected eventually. Like, it was the first time I experienced that. But 360, man, God, there's so many good games.
Now,
It was so simple back then, and I think that's an aspect of a lot of game companies and developers now that are using like bigger name companies. I'm not gonna name drop no developers out there because they're obviously making more money than me, so I can't talk. But a lot of these developers and game people that have been in the game for a while, man, I think they're just losing the actual like reason why you make games, man. Like, back in the day, it was just so much simpler, man. It wasn't all about this money and microtransactions or having skins. It wasn't about that. It was about the game. It was the overall feel and experience that you had. It was the grind.
Mhm.
It was the feeling of like, man, I want to get on here tomorrow and I got to complete this and I got to do this, and you had goals. Now you don't have goals. Games like the Division 2, they have their particular goals. Games like Blackout, they have their particular goals. PUBG, all these games, not just what we've been talking about, but every game has goals. But if you're not producing enough to the common customer and the hardcore gamer, what do you leave your audience? You know what I mean? Black Ops 2. Yeah, you can't go wrong with some good old Black Ops 2. Oh, I was just talking about that today. I was gonna read today. You guys are making me sad over here. I'm thinking back in the day, like, oh, Black Ops 2, the good old days. Where you're muted, by the way.
Yeah, that's what it said. Like I said, I don't know what the hell keeps muting me.
Yeah, not to get off topic with the Division 2, but yeah, that league play for Black Ops 4 is kind of trash.
Yeah, that's what I had heard. Like I don't even know if my Xbox is updated to install the new up.
Juan plays it every day. Juan plays, Juan in the stream. Juan plays it. Playing COD and he's playing Blackout. Blackout's improved. He said Blackout's been a lot better. So I actually went back on there with him the other day because he begged me, like I said earlier. We played and we tried out the league play for a couple games. Like I told you earlier, man, if you don't have a team, man, and you're just a casual player, you're not going to win games. And how they have the ranking system in the game, it's by time. It's not by, your grind or your leaderboard. It's by the per second crap that they've been adding to the leaderboards for the last 3 or 4 years of the game. I just want an old school back in like the old feel of like how competitive Call of Duty felt. I mean, the numbers are at an all-time low. Twitch is kind of like dying on COD. Nobody's really playing Blackout. I mean, Apex has kind of just came out and just bombed everybody. Fortnite, PUBG, Black Ops, every battle royale game that's out. They've done their homework and they've like listened to people's criticisms of games, and they've made pretty much like every gamer's dream battle royale right now. And that's just my opinion. And people don't like the fact that it's the Fortnite killer, but at least they're bringing out something new, fresh, and exciting, and that's going to make me want to play. Until these other games like The Division and Call of Duty and all that get their shit together, man, it's not going to be appealing to me.
Yep.
And it's not going to be a money dropper for me. You know what I mean? If you want me to invest in your product, give me a product that's going to make me want to get up every day and play it and dream about it and want to have that experience with my friends and want to hit everybody up like, yo, get on, let's play. Like, I don't feel that anymore.
And the like Apex would have to be one of my favorite on Xbox right now because again, it is an engaging game. It is, you can go on there with randoms and you can win a game, but it's much but it's much more fun to play it with your friends. And even again, even when you lose, it's still fun because you almost had it, or maybe you dropped in a bad area, but you don't lose the appeal. It doesn't lose its appeal. Black Ops, like I play it on multiplayer because I can't do the Blackout because I hate the armor system on it. It loses. It's lost on me again. I don't enjoy that type of battle royale. Apex, I enjoy that battle royale. Realm Royale, I enjoyed that.
Poor Realm Royale, man. Poor Realm Royale. They take a hit. Cause I sure was watching that on Twitch, man, and I was watching their numbers, and like they were sitting at a good almost 1,000 viewers every night. And yep. I mean, it's just an up and coming game. It just came out the same time pretty much Apex did.
Yep. And
it was getting its little community, and then it's like,
yep. It took a big hit.
And now I just see it every night, and it's like 100 viewers.
Yep.
And I feel bad for the streamers that have to play that game because they're trying to, sponsor that game and be with that game.
Oh, that's what I was gonna
You
say.
know,
The main people that I see on the Black Ops game, if you look at their titles, it says sponsored. So even Activision has to sponsor people to even play their game. So that's really saying something.
if I would play the Division 2, I'd probably get angry at it. I don't usually like games that have challenges you have to do. I like the games where there are optional challenges. I was playing Sonic Unlimited. Hold on, my screen went black. There were challenges that you had to do. I always thought the challenges were hard. To try Sonic Day, and I beat it 36 days after I got it. See?
Yeah,
That's what I'm on. I don't want to have to do missions that I have to do. I want to do things that are going to gravitate me to do what I want to do.
yes.
You know,
Like,
and that's the whole point of being a gamer. You want to do what you want to do, play what you want to play. You want to play it how you want to play it.
exactly. So I don't. I don't want to say it in the manner that it's going to come out as the gaming industry is dying because the developers are killing it. It's not because the players don't want it to succeed. It's because the developers are killing the communities that that people are involved in. And I mean, obviously, the gaming industry or the gaming will never die, but it's suffering.
No, I mean that's
It's
physically
suffering.
impossible with all the platforms and different things that they have out now and commercialized sponsorships and other companies getting into like esports and famous people playing video games now. Like before all this happened, you didn't hear about like football players playing video games for this and doing that. Like it's become a big wave of like just everyone, and that's cool. Like it's not even just like the casual player anymore. It's the rich guy playing football in the NFL. He grinds COD every night and has a stream on Twitch. It's a multi-universe. Everybody plays it. Now you hit another nail on the head. Gaming will never die. Gaming is always going to be here. It's been here forever. Like, but the fact is like, if developers and gaming people don't understand that, like, people complain, for example, on Twitch, oh, well, why does everybody play this game? Or why does everybody play this game? Because think about it. It all starts with the developers of games. If games were really good and games were really successful, that's fine. That doesn't mean that people are going to play them every day. But I believe that if you make a great game, it's going to make people want to stay on that game. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old. It doesn't matter. As long as you're making content for a person to play and it's enjoyable and it's free and it's, maybe even you have to pay for it, but it's an improvement to the game, then you're going in the right direction.
I think Mega Girl makes a perfect point of the game developers have lost the passion to make a great game, and they're just trying to make money and push products that they don't care. And
that's exactly why we get the pre-beta and the pre-alpha and the game's not complete, or the one that I like to see, these are beginning stages. This is not the full game. Well, if it's not the full game that I paid for, what did I pay for?
Yeah, and that's I'm tired of hearing that excuse of whenever they release a game. Oh, well, it's not complete yet. Well, then what the fuck have you been doing?
3 years. I mean, that's what they say now. That's the average build time on games nowadays. 2 to 3 years. Oh, we've been working at 2 to 3 years. Well, it sure don't seem like it because it's not finished.
Well, see, prime example. There's a game on Steam that like the guy I follow on Twitch here, Biker Dad. This guy has never developed a game in his life. He created an entire game called Beyond. It's a horror based game, and he designed every single part of this game in less than a year. Now, this is someone who's never developed a game, and he was able to create a game in 1 year. You are a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate under the guise of Activision, another multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, and you can't develop a polished game in 3 years?
Well, you speak of Activision. The big thing now about Activision, the big guy, Bungie and Activision are like splitting ways. Now Bungie has full control of Destiny 2 because
You are correct.
Activision has been dropping the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now if we go back and we think about it, Activision also has a big role in Call of Duty in the last, years or so. Activision. And you say like, not to bring up Destiny because it's totally off topic, but Destiny 2 was like a division and a division 2. This is like if you were to play two identical games, it'd be the Division 2 and the Division, and it would be Destiny and Destiny 2. These are the two closest examples that I can put side by side and say like this is the exact reason why their games don't succeed. Because Destiny 1 was revolutionary. Like, I say revolutionary because when I bought it, me and Blurby, man, we played that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, man, October, I think it was October it came out. I don't remember. But when that game came out, dude, me and Blurby, I'm talking like, and Blurby doesn't play like PvE games. He plays more of the multiplayer call. But
Destiny was fun.
When he got Destiny, man, me and him were grinding, man. We were like, man, this is nothing we ever played. This was new. It was constant action.
Mm-hmm.
And then they jammed all that DLC down our throats. And if we didn't have the DLC, farther than the game, your game didn't progress. Killed it for me on Destiny. Then they came out with Destiny 2, just like they did. And this is why I'm using this in Division and Division 2, because it's the same exact thing, just forget about the DLCs. Like, they said, oh, well, we got to make improvements for what we screwed up on the first. Well, you came out with Destiny 2 and it flopped.
Yep.
Because you did the same exact thing that you did with the first game. And that's where, like, the Division and the Division 2 come in. They're trying to meet the expectation of the first great game that they had, and it was amazing, and it was awesome, and it brought us that feel, and it was different. And now, again, I feel like they're dropping the ball. The Division 2. Destiny and Destiny 2 could have been light years away from ever ending, and they could have just continued content, continued gear, continued weapons, continued skins. And they could have, maybe brought their game out into a little bit of more exposure and brought more players in. But to make them have to pay for DLC and then just drop the ball in the game and then have the whole company be like, all right, Bungie's like, whoa. Okay, you guys are screwing this up. We got to take this back because you're going to ruin such a great game. Mm-hmm. So now, Bungie has it. And we all know what Bungie's famous for. I don't need to name drop any names for that.
Yeah, Halo.
I don't need to drop no names for Halo. Halo has been a successful game for
number of years.
I remember Halo came out on, what was that? The original Xbox. That's what it first came out on, right? It was the original Xbox.
And again, Megan said, if it's not complete, why are you releasing it? Nobody wants a half-assed game. And you are 100% correct. I don't want a half-assed game. And Destiny was a great game. And being Halo is such a good game, I'm glad that Bungie did take it back over. But whenever they released Halo 2, it literally just looked like a rebrand of Destiny 1. And that's why I did not purchase Destiny 2. And if Division 2 is going to turn into a rebrand of Division 1, you're going to you'll probably lose me within the first 30 days because although I had a lot of fun with the original Division, I don't want a rebrand of a game that I already own. I want something new.
Right.
You're introducing more characters. Great. Like show me it. You're giving the first year for free. Great. I'll see like as it progresses along if you deliver on what you're promising. And if they don't, then again, it's just going to be taken off out of my Xbox, and it will
And just sit there.
Yep.
And who wants to waste money on a game that has potential, but because developers, community of the game, like that's the thing. A community of a game can always, regardless if the game is trash, regardless if the game is good, a community can always stand by a game if the community has faith in the game. But once you lose that community and that faith in that community, and you don't really have control of everything on the game, or you're not on top of the ball, your game crumbles. And I think, like she said it best, is that people are pushing out a product that they money, microtransactions, money, DLC, money. Why?
And
why?
And I'm glad you liked the Halo 3 and Halo 4, but I don't know if you remember whenever the Halo 5 Guardian came out.
Halo Reach was my favorite.
Well, Halo 5, whenever it released, it was a big game. I mean, like, there's so many people I seen playing it, and it got a lot of big, like, old Halo players who were champions at the game to come in, and they were playing it and streaming it and everything like that. But that wasn't like Halo 5 did not suffer a slow death. It was literally, it was here, and then the next day, it was at the bottom. Like, it was just overnight. That game just dropped, and nobody was playing it. And you stopped hearing about any of the championships that were being offered or being hosted. You stopped hearing about big time people playing the game. And the question is why? It's because they, from my perspective, a person who owns the game, they walked away from it and stopped supporting the community's feedback, and that's where a lot of developers are failing it. Dave Vandahar said that he was going to take into account everybody's feedback. Well, okay. Well, from a lot of the Reddit posts that I've read, and a lot of the tweets that get deleted from his timeline, a lot of people were kind of telling you your game is shit. But you're really not taking that into account whenever you're releasing the turd that is what it is. I mean, come on now.
You said the turd. Yo, that's gonna be the new dub for any shitty game that comes out. The turd. Hold on. Oh, my face. Hold on. Oh, that's funny. I'm crying. Hold on.
You're
right though.
You're
right.
The people who are playing your game, like you were saying, the ranking system, it is not what was asked for. The kill per second or kill per minute was not what was being asked for. It was asking for a somewhat like a.
I've been bitching about it all day to you.
Oh my god. CS:GO type of ranking where you have a 1403 rank. Okay, well now you are able to get into games as a team with people who are 20 points below, 20 points above. That's who you can get into a game with.
Right.
Uh,
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they have like, if you've only won like so many games, or you've only been in so like, I mean, they rank you up with similar people. Like I said, if you don't have that squad or that team that you're going in there with, and I mean, you should. I'm going to be honest. You shouldn't play with randoms in the first place. It's league play. You know, there's going to be sweaties that have sticks to deodorant next to them while they're playing. So when they're sweating, they're like,
yep.
you know what I mean? So, for me, like you say, like Vandahar, like, come on, man. We're not gonna sit here and beat around the bush. Treyarch's made a phenomenal game in the past. Treyarch's been the top, like, dog when it's come to COD, besides the old school developers that, Infinity War, before the old dude fucking ran off with all the money and everything got screwed up. We won't talk about that. That's way back when.
Can you do that again?
What?
Probably the sweaties.
Yeah. But like I just feel like you make all this money, you get all this praise. To me, simple mechanics in a game that work are better than trying to jam-packed and just shove shit down our throats and say, take it.
Yep.
That's not how you keep a gamer intrigued and wanting to play your game. You got to give them, little glimpses of what, like you said, the future can be. And if there isn't a future, then you really need to step back and realize that, damn, our community really is dying. Like I said, I touched on it last week. Look at the numbers to a lot of these games that have been out. And I'm saying top-notch games that have been around, that have had a community, they're dying every day. Numbers are just depleting on Twitch. Not that the streamer base really matters on games nowadays. I mean, without this platform of Twitch and Mixer and streaming and YouTube, like, games get enough exposure. It's not popular on Twitch. Just because something isn't popular on Twitch doesn't mean that it's not popular, somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There could be games that are being overlooked on Twitch because they're so saturated and overplayed that people are going to Mixer, that people are going to YouTube to make them shine, to make them stand out. Because we all know there's a lot of games that people play. There's a lot of games that people try out. People aren't really used to like trying to play like new games that come out and give it a chance and give it like an overall feel and review like we do with games. I'll try anything at least once, but it's got to get my attention. It's got to make me want to play it. And with these developers, just like only focusing primarily on one thing, or focusing on, for prime example, Call of Duty. Let's focus on Blackout more than we do our multi. When, to be honest, think about it. If they didn't have a Blackout, what would they be focusing on? The multiplayer. So why can't they do both?
Yeah.
Why can't they have one team for Blackout and then have one team for multiplayer? I mean, you're making billions and billions of dollars. Oh, she clipped it. Nice. But you're making billions of dollars. You mean to tell me that you can't put a team of 7 or 8 creative minds together in a room and come up with something to save your game? And I'm not just saying COD, but just in general, anybody. Like, if you're having a struggle bus on the totem pole of gaming, or where you're at in your community, or you're listening to your community and they're saying your game sucks and it's trash and it's dying, wouldn't you want to be as the developer of that game and be like, man, this is my name under it. This is my pride and joy, and people say that I suck. Wouldn't you, as a person that made that game, want to take a step back for a second and try to figure out what can fix your game, or at least come to the conclusion of an improvement?
Yeah, I agree. And Gunshots and Headlock said, I believe that there will be a Halo 6. And it angers me to no end when a developer does walk away from their and when they do walk away from their games. I'll give you a perfect example. Going back to the DayZ, Brian Hicks was it with that game from the beginning. He walked away because
Who's that guy?
Brian Hicks.
I don't know who that is.
He was one of the developers of it. He was one of the original developers of the DayZ game, and because they were developing it so slow and refused to allow it to get out of the beta, and they just kept releasing this update,
little patches, because that's what my friend was about. He's been on my stream a few times. He hasn't streamed much. I actually haven't seen him. I gotta get a hold of that guy. But he was the one that introduced me to DayZ, and like I remember he would always, and I mean he would play like hours of that game, and all I would ever see is just running around. All I would ever see is running around. I'd never see any action or anything like that. And I asked him, I said, "Hey man, why is the game so lackluster, man? It doesn't seem that fun." And the first thing he said was, "Man, because they keep on bringing out these damn patches and they don't bring us like more content to the game fast enough."
Yep.
And I was like, damn, if they don't bring content to the game, why do you keep playing it? Doesn't that make it boring and suck? He's like, yeah, but I got faith in the game that it's going to get better. And to be honest, he's gotten off the game now because it hadn't got better and it hadn't like improved, and it's still kind of at the standstill that it is now. And I mean, even now that they've released the DayZ on Xbox, that's in pre-alpha stage or whatever of like on Xbox. It's not complete. They like literally tell you before you buy the game that the game isn't finished. So, player beware.
Yeah, you kiss my ass with the pickaxes in DayZ.
DayZ and some picks.
The story behind that one is we were playing DayZ and there were wolves surrounding the house, and I had a gun. Well, and I was shooting the wolves. Well, she went to swing at a wolf, and she smacked me in the back of the head with a pickaxe and killed me. Well, now mind you, this was well over almost 2 years ago, and I've still yet to live it down because you killed me with a pickaxe. That's
brutal. That's savage. Just think about that. You're just sitting there trying to protect your house. This is a real life situation. You're sitting there protecting your house. You got the shotgun out. Then all of a sudden,
yep. Yeah, she said it's better for the wolves to eat me than her. But that
watch it, warrior. Tell me something.
The DayZ game is one of those games that it is so. If you have a team of people to play,
making me cry.
It is such a fun game to play.
Now, see, I have seen it where people are full into a team and they get into it with some other people. That's cool, but like,
it does take so long to get into those interactions, though. So, but I think that's where we're going to wrap it up for this week. Everybody in the stream, I greatly appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, man, I had a good time this week, man. It was good. Covered it kind of more than just the school. I didn't mind doing it because, I mean, we kind of had to take, like, other things, from other games to address some things that were coming from the division.
Oh, before we end this, she said about someone who shoves an apple on a stick and then hits you in the back of the head. I can take an apple in my hand and I can hit you. It won't do anything. I can take a stick and I can poke you with it, and it will not do a thing. But if you take that stick and you put an apple on the end of it, oh my God, it is like a damn shotgun to the fucking eye.
What?
I don't know what it is, but they poke you with that thing and it kills you instantly. So, yeah, just if you ever play the game, watch someone putting
Watch out for apples on a stick. I remember that.
Yeah. But again, I appreciate everybody stopping by. And anybody who is in here, thank you, and please join us next week. We'll kick around some more ideas of what games, and if anybody has any suggestions.
Girl, thank you for the entertainment and clipping my clip. I had to go back and watch that. So definitely, and thank you everybody as well from my end for joining in and just sticking around, listening to us, just jibber jabber about things and just addressing different issues. If you guys did like the stream, don't forget to drop a follow for the round table, and we'll definitely catch you guys next week at some time and actually talk about possibly something else or maybe even the same thing. It depends on what we want to come up with.
All right, and again, I appreciate everybody, and if anybody who's in the stream if anybody who's in the stream who hasn't followed, please stop by my co-host here and drop a follow. There is his Twitch channel. Drop a follow, and
thanks for the shout out, brother.
and we'll catch you next week.
Peace.